How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having an amazing day. As I mentioned on the last video, this weekend is kind of big. A couple of big bangers have dropped, and in this one we'll go over Persona 3 and 4. Specifically, Persona 3 Portable for the Switch, as well as Persona 4 Golden. Now, if you're a Persona fan, I don't think I need to tell you anything. I'm sure you already bought them. But if you are on the fence and you're still wondering, should I spend my hard-earned money on it, then this video is for you. But before we get started, if you want to support what I do, subscribe to the channel, as well as look at my links down below. And without further ado, let's get rolling. Alright, so let's be honest. Stop the cap. I would almost put money on it that you've already bought this game, especially because it came out early. And I really shouldn't say this game because I'm sure you bought both of them in the bundle. But listen, if you did and you're still watching the video, hey, I love you too. For everyone else, Persona 3 through 5 has been released on all platforms. Persona 5 came out around last October and people loved it. But also that was the last Persona game chronologically released. So now it's time for Atlus to re-release both Persona 3 and 4. And when I say re-release, I mean it's a re-release, not a remaster. So the question I want to answer for you is Persona 3 and 4 worth it? Now, to go over the stories real quick, let's go over Persona 3 first. Persona 3's story is pretty simple and probably the most relatable one. You play as and follow a group of high school kids to learn how to deal with the concept of death. That is a crazy cope. As a group of rambunctious high school kids, instead of doing your schoolwork, you decided to join a group called Seas. The group Seas investigates this mysterious time period called the Dark Hour. Now, I'll refrain from telling you what the Dark Hour actually is because it's better to see it than just to hear it. But again, this main story is to deal with depression, death. And you know that they say the only things that you can't escape are taxes and death. On the other hand, let's jump over and look at Persona 4. In Persona 4, you also play as a rambunctious group of high schoolers that refuse to go to school. But while they're doing nothing, kicking it back at home, they realize that there's a mysterious channel that's always airing. A series of murders start occurring in a real life world, and it seems to relate to this TV channel. After realizing the correlation between the murders and the TV, they decide to jump into the TV. Bro, what? After jumping into the TV, they hope to find that serial killer and bring darkness to light. Now, I'll do my best to stop any ring comparisons, but at least what they're doing is just and it's applaudable for wanting to be heroes. But let's just be honest, man, that death concept goes crazy. Now that you get the premise of the stories, we can go over the gameplay. If you have played Persona 5 or Shin Megami Tensei 5, then I'm sure you know about the gameplay, because Persona 3 and 4 are the same thing, but just less. Overall, it's a turn-based game where your goal is to defeat other enemies. You use your creatures called personas to defeat other creatures, which are called personas. Teehee. Thanks to a typing chart, characters have specific abilities that their personas can use to defeat other enemies. For example, you may have a persona that has a fire type skill that another enemy may be weak to. These attributes such as immunities, resistances, weaknesses control the game completely. So best case scenario, you find a persona that has a specific typing that's strong and use it against other personas. It's pretty simple, and best part, you can fuse your old personas to make new ones. Other than that, that's the gameplay. So the question you may have is, what is it missing? As I mentioned before, both Persona 3 and 4 come after Persona 5. Duh. While that is true, you gotta understand that Persona 5 has some features that Persona 3 and 4 just lack. When it comes to P3P, this game is missing a lot. Because Persona 3 Portable is a port and nothing else, you realize that Atlus didn't do the most for this game. The most notable part missing is the FES content. A better way to describe it is the extra story content called The Answer. The Answer not only gives you more story, but it also gives you a new playable character that's just not present. But I guess Atlus just didn't want to put it in here. Other than that, there's still other issues that are still present. The dungeon that you spend most of your time playing in is insanely repetitive. Let's just be honest, Mementos compared to Tartarus is actually criminal. It's even more annoying because they chose not to change Tartarus whatsoever. But if that's not enough, I also have to bring up that a lot of the times you're watching this as a light novel or a presentation. Previous cinematic scenes have been changed to PowerPoint scenes. It's just bad, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know what they were doing. But within Persona 3, there's still a lot of good things on the other side. Tartarus may be super competitive, but you don't feel that in the combat. Being able to fight new enemies, use your new personas, as well as switch out new moves is also new and refreshing. On top of that, it's a sim game. The whole game revolves around you having social links and bonding with other characters. And to be completely honest, that's why you're buying this game, for that aspect. Being able to learn more about these characters and seeing them grow is honestly better than anything else. But you also have the choice to just neglect them and not have them in your life. Bully. But on the flip side, you have Persona 4 Golden, and honestly, this is a better game. Story-wise, I'd have to take 3 over 4. However, it's 2023. When you're trying to bring over a game to a new system that's old, it's sometimes better to go ahead and remaster remaster it. I mean, look at Final Fantasy VII. Could you imagine playing that again when it's not going to be remastered? But this is more of an issue for Persona 3. Persona 4 does not have that problem. The biggest problem with Persona 4 is it's just outdated. The graphics of the game look a little bit subpar, if anything. But other than that, there's not much to complain about the game. Because this is the definitive edition called Golden, there's a lot more aspects that are added. And on top of that, everything I just complained about before in Persona 3 is just better in 4. The dungeon crawling is not dreadful. The characters have an amazing narrative that makes you love each and every one of them. And the best part of it all, that it's not a slideshow. Now again, this is not a full in-depth summary of these games. So let's go ahead and get to the question, is it worth your money? Now luckily for us, these are not full price games. Nintendo can't be scummy because everything else is pricing them at 40. And I should say that they're priced at 40 together. Realistically, they're 20 each. Many people had that problem with Persona 5 Royal's release because it was charged at full price after being out for years. But luckily, they didn't slime us this time. So is Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden worth the $40? Oh boy. If you are an SMT fan or a Persona 5 fan and you've never played these games, then yes, the money is worth it. But if you're just getting into the franchise now, Persona 3 is just not worth the money. Now listen, Persona 3 fans, I love this game and it's probably the best story out there, but there's missing content, it's outdated, and for a game that they want you to invest 60 plus hours in, I don't see you lasting more than probably 20. But again, if you are a Persona fan, you better go get in the lab and work. But if you're not, your best bet is just to get Persona 4 Golden. But again, these games are only $20 each and they won't go up in price. Well, at least they better not. But if you're looking for the best experience in this franchise, I would have to point you to both 4 and 5. But listen, if you decided to get these games, let me know what you think down below. I do see a lot of mixed feelings about this, and personally, I bought them anyway, so tell me what you did. But with that, thank y'all for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I love all the support, and y'all take care. Have a good one. Peace.